Righto, welcome back to the Maximum Cricket Podcast. This is episode number 60. My name is Munter, and today we talk about the death of West Indies cricket, the rise of Netherlands cricket, why the ICC and the MCC hate cricket, who's winning the fourth Ashes Test, will we get it decided at the Oval, are Australia scared of Mark Wood, or should Ollie Robinson just stop writing a column? We have Jacko here, and we are covering all that, the Major League Cricket League, and much, much more. But first, Jacko, straight off the bat, out or not out, the Indian Test kit with 3 stripes from Adidas. Give me your visceral thoughts.
Wow. It's hard to put into words how poor that kit is. We're looking at, the like scucky football training pants of the late 2010s. Has sort of somehow made its way into Test cricket, which is just an abomination. If Inter Milan or Real Madrid wore that sort of as their warm-up kit, no one bats an eyelid. But Test cricket's not a place for the 3 stripes. You get your wee brand on the right chest, and that's it. If you're lucky, the right chest. That should be the VB logo for Dougie Bollinger to kiss. But if we're going to power rank terrible Test kits, which are hard to do, it's 1-1 and it's not close. Horrific.
It's just too much going on. Like, the thing about a Test cricket is more is actually less, if you know what I mean. Like, the more that's going
less
on, the less. Well, yeah, less is more and more is less.
Yeah,
so it's all the more you put on, the less you like it. The less that's on there, the more you like it. Like, it's all about being clean cut. Like, I remember there was a massive uproar when the numbers came on the back. Yep. Which I didn't hate. I understood the marketing side of it. You can sell jumpers. Like, kids can go and get a Paddy Cummins top sort of thing. Yeah. I got that, but it's just, this feels a bit much. This feels like your third grade team. You got some money to get a new kit, and this is what they've come back with. Like, just a little bit too much flair for me. Adidas, I don't rate it. It looks too much like a football top. We don't need it. And I'm not even sure if it's legal. And I'm pretty sure there's something around the ICC where you can't actually have that much colour on there.
And if there's not, there should be. This is genuine here. You are not allowed to have more than 2 logos combined on your pads. So you're only allowed 2 visible logos on your pads, and you can put fucking 17 stripes on your kit. Like, it's disgraceful. It's so bad. I've never seen anything like it. The ICC needs to step in and regain some power over world cricket. So if that's flying, I don't know what's next. Test cricket, wear creams, have a sponsor's logo, name and number if you really need it, and that's that.
Well said. And just sort of slightly on topic, but slightly off topic, I went to Rebel Sport over the weekend, just looking for some trackies, not some white 3-stripe jobs, that's for sure. But I noticed Adidas had sort of got rid of the actual word Adidas from their logo. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's just the 3 sort of stripes, and it's quite jarring. I don't know if it sits well on me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that minimalism is coming into kit, isn't it? Like, into designs. I think we're trying to, rival Nike's logo of just the swoosh. But interesting, because they've gone the opposite with India's kit and put the stripes over everything. They might as well have like Adidas across the front, or in massive writing, or down the side of the pants.
Yeah. And so obviously we're going to talk about India West Indies Test series, but we started with the big guns, the big stories. That's the main story, and that's taken away from the fact that India have absolutely waltzed that first test like it was a training ground run, basically. So just to summarise that test match, West Indies got rolled for 150. Ashwin took 5 for 60. India made 421 for 5 to clear. Kohli 76, Rohit 103, and the debutant Jaiswal, that's right, made 171. The West Indies could not have put up less fight. being skittled for 130 to lose by an innings and a shitload. Ashwin took 7 for 71, giving himself 12 for the match. Crazy to think that he didn't play in that World Test Championship final not that long ago. Jacko, your thoughts of the match?
Yeah, it's a tough look. I mean, it's when a last sort of animal goes extinct in captivity, and it's real tough to watch because you're sort of watching the end of an era and like the end of something, and it's like, shit, maybe this could have been prevented. It feels like we're sitting there watching that happen with West Indies cricket. But they just haven't qualified for the World Cup. They've produced an absolute hell of a pitch to play 100% into India's hands, and now like they've folded. Like it's horrific. It's terrible to watch. They're one of the great teams historically in world cricket. World cricket's better off if they're good, and to see them sort of where they're at now is just not good for the neutral fan, I don't think.
Yeah, and I'd love to get someone that actually understands West Indies cricket a little more than we do, because what I don't understand is you always hear these stories about these fast bowlers, like they would just have this conveyor belt of fast bowlers, fast nasties, and you would assume they would have bouncy wickets to sort of combat that, but here we are in a test match, we've got a low, slow wicket, guys going at 2.5 and over, Ashwin's just spinning up a storm, and it makes you wonder, why would you play India on a pitch like this when you just saw Australia beat them on a seaming wicket? I understand there's probably a reason why they can't produce anything, but when I saw that, I saw someone's tweet where we've just come off the Ashes, where this is like the upper echelon of Test cricket, and granted it's a bit more money, but then to go from that to watching Kohli get 70 odd off like 250 balls is just a tough watch for the neutral.
I saw something similar. Like if you've just used the Ashes to get someone into Test cricket, and they go, "That's not bad. When's the next game?" and you've had to put India West Indies on, like you'll be losing another fan to the game. So, it's tough to watch. I'd love to get some Indian takes and see, like, are they happy with it? Like, are they like, yeah, we've creamed West Indies, like we're just happy to win, or do they actually think like, are they seeing it too? Whereas like, we've gone there, a dust bowl's been produced, and we've just trounced a terrible side. I'd love to know if they're stoked with this, because, I mean, every neutral's not happy with it, purely from a spectating view. So, I mean, you want your team to win, but surely not like that. Surely not away from home.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I mentioned to you off air, I just had a thought about how poor of a fight this was from West Indies, and I don't want to stick the boot in too much, but I had a thought about, would Ireland have performed better if they had a home test against India? You got some green, you would assume they've got some green seaming wickets rather than this low, slow Ashwin Fest stuff. I'm inclined to think that Ireland would push India a little bit further.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And I mean, we talked about this during the week, and I almost reckon if you're going to, like, India would beat both of them combined on that sort of wicket they played on. 20 wickets versus 40, two combined teams. Like they'd beat most sort of combined minnows. So, yeah, I mean,
are we talking like 22 fielders? Like, is that?
Yeah.
Are they all on the park? Or,
yeah,
like 19. I got 20 wickets.
Yeah,
10 20 wickets. Ashwin takes 17 wickets in the first innings.
Yeah, Ashwin's the first player ever to take 30 in a test.
Wouldn't put it past him, actually. Wouldn't put it past him.
But yeah, no, I think Ireland would. So I mean, it's got to be tough for them as a cricketing nation, I suppose, like coming off that World Cup, not qualifying, and then straight into India at home. But hopefully this can be like the kick up the butt they need, and sort of can work hard to get back into the upper echelon of cricket again. Because when West Indies playing well, world cricket's in a good place, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it's hard to watch when you've seen a side. I mean, I haven't seen them their whole history, but you've heard all the stories about a a nation or nations that used to be like top of the world. Like if you look at their track record, they've got 2 ODI World Cups, they've got 2 T20 World Cups.
They've got as many World Cup wins as India, second most World Cup wins ever.
Yeah, they'd be only behind Australia, wouldn't they? Surely.
Yeah. I think it's Aussie on whatever they're on, and then India and West Indies equal, which is wild to think.
Yeah, England have 3. Yeah, that is wild to think. And then now they missed the T20 World Cup last year. They got knocked out in the qualifiers. They've been knocked out of the qualifiers this year, and they haven't just missed the qualifiers. They've been they've lost. They lost to Sri Lanka, they lost to Netherlands, they lost to Scotland, and they lost to Zimbabwe. So they weren't even close.
And it was tighter than you'd think against Oman too.
The question, we're talking about the West Indies, and maybe the question needs to be, should there be more teams at the World Cup? Like if we had 16 teams like we should have at the World Cup, would this even be a problem for the West Indies? Is this a good thing that they've hit rock bottom and they can actually figure some stuff out? Because the talent's there.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. It just seems like they've always been that sort of I suppose it comes with being like a group of different countries making one international team. You're always going to struggle, but they've always seemed to produce talent. And if you look around like T20 leagues, all the superstars are West Indians. Your Dre Russes, your Bravos, your Purans, these guys are like elite players. So they can obviously produce the talent, but it's just getting it to mesh and gel when they come together as international teams. So yeah, hopefully this is the last time they're sort of in this position, because it's not good.
Yeah, because you mentioned about the franchise cricket, and it would be interesting to do an exercise where who has the most IPL players per nation, like obviously outside India. And I think you're probably looking at your Englands, your Australias, and I think West Indies would be pretty close to third.
Yeah,
they'd be way ahead of New Zealand.
Yeah, and I reckon if you went on percentage played, they'd be close to first.
In terms of all times, you got Pollard and stuff.
Well, Pollard shows up, plays every game. The guys that are in the show, like Dre Russ, your Bravos, they're there for the whole tournament, aren't they? So, if we're looking at percentage of actually IPL games, the West Indies will make a large number of that, and you just hope if they're going downhill, if you're losing that talent pool and not seeing the next version of those guys coming through at the highest level, are they going to get these sort of franchise deals and stuff? So. Yeah, they need to sort it out quickly, I think.
100%. They did produce, they didn't produce. They were part of one of the greatest one-day internationals ever seen. They probably won't go down as one of the best because it was a qualifying game, but I tell you what, it was outstanding. If you catch the highlights, you definitely should. So it was West Indies versus the Netherlands, and this was probably the game where that was the end of their World Cup campaign. What a game to go out on. So West Indies played their part. They got 374 off their 50 overs. I think Puran got 100 off 60 odd, something ridiculous. That's a world-class player. So Netherlands were chasing 375 for victory. And then at one point they needed 204 off the last 20 overs with 6 wickets in hand. When, I just cannot pronounce his last name. So I'm going to go first name. Tasia. Starts with an N.
Nuramadura, isn't it?
That sounds good to me. Smashed 111 off 76, the same amount of runs he made in Dunedin Club Cricket 1 year. Scott Edwards made 67 off 47, and Logan Van Beek made 28 off 14 to send the match into a super over. And that's when Van Beek went up another notch. First, he smashed Jason Holder for 30 off a super over. So Van Beek essentially made 58 off 20 rocks, and the team essentially made 406 off 51 overs. And then Van Beek, after smashing 30, thought he'd bowl the super over, took 2 wickets, and basically knocked the West Indies out. Before we talk about how good the Netherlands are, Jacko, do you think that performance from Van Beek might be the greatest super over ever? Individually?
Yeah, 100%. There's only 2 sort of crushing results in a super over, isn't there? And I think it's like anything in like the high 20s plus, or wicket first two balls are like, yeah, game over no matter what the super over happens. Obviously, two wickets, it is game over, but like they get 30. If you don't hit the first ball for six, it's all over. It's all she wrote. So, yeah, as definitive as you can be in a super over, I reckon. Just quietly as well, what happens to those sort of stats? Does he get like a 30 off 5 as an individual record, or are your super over stats not counted to your total? It's going to help strike
I
rate.
don't think so. Like I pretty sure after the fourth boundary, he's not raising his bat for 50.
No.
Like I don't know if it's
Interesting, though.
that.
Yeah.
I would like to see like a super over stats, just
Yeah.
pure super over stats. Like because I think that'd be quite interesting. Because you do think that at some point all the stuff's getting quite specialised. That you're going to go like this guy's a specialist super over player sort of jobs.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like when you were talking, I was thinking about what could probably rival that super over performance. And the only thing I could think of off the top of my head was when Narayan bowled a wicket maiden in a super over.
Yeah.
I think that's
pretty special.
when he was like turning it square both before he got banned for chucking.
Yeah. The only other one I could think is Tim Southey at Jade Stadium hitting 5 out of 6 Yorkers against the Aussies. Can't remember what it was off it, but it was brilliant. And I was there.
Cool memories.
So, yeah, that sort of just
cool memory stuff.
Really raises how good that event was. So, and Guptill cut one right at us and we won. It was brilliant. What a day that was.
Was that
that might be my favourite day of cricket actually I've ever been to. Just on
was
a
that
real
the
side
BMAC?
note. There's BMAC.
Was that the
100.
BMAC?
Yeah, scooping him into the castle.
I love that. I love that innings so much because I don't know if you remember. We could probably do a rewatchable on that T20 at some stage because if you go back to the game beforehand, do you remember when we got skittled? And it was like they had like three 150k bowlers. They had Nannes, Tate, and might have been even like Harris was pushing like 145. And I think we just got rock and rolled.
Yeah.
We got rock and rolled, and then that was awesome. So that's for another day. I like that.
Yeah, that was a hell of a game. Nathan Estel, we cameo at the not Nathan Estel, Nathan McCullum, we cameo at the end too from memory.
Yeah, he's won a couple games.
Yeah.
Right, should we do the World Cup qualifiers as a whole for a minute, and then we'll discuss the Netherlands. So, the World Cup qualifiers, they finished up last week or the week before. 10 teams, they fought it out for the final 2 spots in this year's ODI World Cup. The tournament was in Zimbabwe, which was won by the undefeated Sri Lanka, which wasn't a major surprise. The big surprise was that it will be Netherlands joining them in India as the final qualifier. The bigger surprise was that it was between them and Scotland, but we will get to that later on. So, just on the Netherlands, the story of the Netherlands' journey to the World Cup. First of all, they were missing 7 of their first choice players to county cricket. They finished ahead of 3 test playing nations to qualify. They had to chase down 270 odd in 44 overs to qualify ahead of Scotland. And this is on the back of their performance at the T20 World Cup, where they knocked out South Africa and have qualified for the next T20 World Cup. It's the associate nations are taking a bit of a hammering, Jacko, but this is a bit of a story from the Dutch bunch.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of talent they're missing, they don't have a deep talent pool as is, do they? I'm not going out on a limb saying they don't have, 20 international level cricketers probably in their country, like to compete against the best teams in the world, sort of at a World Cup. So, yeah, to be losing 7 of those and that game against West Indies, you said, like chasing 370. You could be playing a club side and 370 is tough to chase. You've got to go for a long time and you've only got 10 mistakes. Essentially, you can make in that run chase, and you're done. So maybe even sort of 6 proper mistakes or wickets in your chase is nearly done. So to win that one, exceptional. And then it's just a shame that this. I mean, if we're talking the tournament as a whole, because that's probably the most interest I've ever had in minnows cricket. That tournament, stemming off some good games, Scotland playing well, and the West Indies being awful, sort of perks your ears up and you get into it. And it's just a shame that we'll probably get into it in a minute, but we're sort of missing that minnows. We're going to miss that minnows flair at the World Cup, apart from a little bit of Netherlands stuff. But full credit to them. They've got some good expats in there, and it shows the talent that some of the guys have, and sort of making that risk to move overseas can pay off big time. So.
Yeah, it's a bit of. I mean, you brought it up now. We might as well touch on it now. It's a bit of it's a shame that. I mean, it's an absolute. Well, it's a disgrace, really, that there's only 10 teams at this World Cup. Like, it's kind of exciting when you get it. Like everyone plays everyone, and it's kind of all right. But it's more of a Champions Trophy at that stage, which is another story because they're a waste of time anyway. But like I said to you guys in our group chat about other World Cups and growing the game, because in the '96 World Cup. Like the Cricket World Cup had 12 teams. So how 20-odd years later, or 28 years later, whatever it was, how do we have less teams at the World Cup when you've got the Football World Cup, they've got more going in, the Rugby World Cup's got more, even like the Basketball World Cup's going more, everything's getting global and cricket's moving in the opposite direction. Like you had a good point where this associate team, like, there's some genuine talent. Like, it's not like there's probably those 10 teams. There's probably like 3, 4 maybe teams that like sort of don't belong at a World Cup. But I'd say most of them do. Like, it's a real shame that Scotland's not going to make the World Cup, because they had a really good tournament as well. Like they beat Ireland, they beat the West Indies, and they beat Zimbabwe. Even Zimbabwe should be there.
Yeah. I mean, touching on Scotland and the minnows as well. I mean, friend of the show, Chris Sell, touching 150 clicks. Like, that's the stuff you need at World Cups. Just goals, ball and gas. And, I mean, to be robbed of that's tough. But, I mean, if you look back at World Cup, some of the best moments in World Cup cricket are minnows related. Like did Ireland beat England at that World Cup, or Pakistan in the West Indies? Who did they beat? They beat someone big.
Ireland did beat at the last World Cup at India, didn't they? Remember that O'Brien made that 100 off 50 rocks or something? Yeah,
like minnows upsets. Like, it's what makes World Cup cricket good. And as you said, it's like making it international is where you actually draw things in, and you bring more crowds and you bring more people in. But yeah, I mean, look, getting 9. So what? Everyone just plays everyone at the World Cup, and then the top 4 go through.
Pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much exactly how it works.
I mean, that's probably another thing to touch on, is why is there a different format for every World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, it was similar to the 2019 one, but the one before that's different. And it should be like any other World Cup where, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's India related, where the last time we had 16 teams and it was a pool, India didn't make it, and then we all lost money and it sucks. And it's like, and you don't need any more handouts, you know?
I mean, you go 4 pools of 4, top 2 make it, quarters, semis, finals, done. Like, I mean, thinking back, like that World Cup in the West Indies, it went for about 19 weeks, where they had pool stages and Super 8s and then finals and whatnot. Like, it's weird that every year the World Cup's like rethought. Like, tournaments around the world in every sport work on the pool basis, and then you have, your 3 rounds of quarterfinals into finals. I just don't know why is it always different? Like, why is playing everyone better than playing pool games? I don't understand it really, but
it's obviously money related and all that sort of shit. But it's just like that. All I think about is that India, they'll get to play 9 games at like minimum, and if they play 9 games, then everyone makes more money.
At min 100,000 players, at min 100,000, probably 1 billion viewing it.
Yeah, so I get it, but there's got to be another way. But I think you're right. I hate Super 6s, Super 8s. Like, it's any time the punters have to think about how it works, if they have to think about it too much, it doesn't work. Like, it
tell you
just
what,
needs
you
to be
give me
real
a-
clean.
You even give me a three-man, you give me a three-man finals, and I'm gone mentally. Or even when four plays one and one gets a bye if they lose, and yeah, it's all tricky stuff. Just give me one plays 8, 2 plays 7. Keep it simple.
100%. Well, before we move on, there's one more chat around ODIs that I want to throw at you. So the MCC, I don't know if they've like made it official or anything, or they've just thought. I think they've just said that they suggested that we get rid of ODIs outside of World Cup years, which kind of tells me like they make the rules. So I don't know if it's they're deciding it, but it's kind of them saying like we don't need bilaterals anymore. One days. What is your thoughts on that, Jacko? Yay or nay? Out or not out?
Oh, I don't know. Like the purist in me thinks no, but like in terms of if you want to like save cricket and if you want to maximize viewership, like T20s and Test cricket's the way to go, isn't it? I think Test cricket you get the best of like the game, and then Test cricket you get the best of the game. T20 cricket you're entertaining people. So, I mean, if for whatever reason one has to drop out, it's one day cricket. I can see the reasoning behind it. Like if it lets a couple more franchise backed leagues in the States, and if the Super Smash gets its own like mini window somewhere instead of competing with the Big Bash and stuff. Like if you're building everything up in lieu of it, I can see it having some merit. But if you're going to bin it, just bin it. Like if you're just going to every 4 years, right, we're going to play one day cricket again. Like, well, how does it change everything? Do you stop playing one day cricket and club cricket and whatnot? Like these changes, you got to sort of think how they trickle down versus the actual game itself. Like, so yeah, I mean, I can see both sides to it, but I just think in terms of the integrity of the game, you've got to keep one day cricket in it because, I mean, there's nothing better than a full day of Gurk. I used to love it flatting or whatever, 2 o'clock start, grab your box, or a lunchtime BYO, which we've done in the past. And, you just get into things and you get into your day and it's a full day thing. So, yeah, I'm swaying around. I'm out completely. Keep one day cricket forever.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think I'm at the point where I'm setting it upstairs, so I'm doing it. I'm going like this, but I'm giving it a soft signal of out. So I'm like, there's a dodgy catch, and I'm like, I think I agree with it. I think I agree to get rid of one days, but I am on the fence because I don't know what they're replacing that time with. Yeah. So it depends on what they do with that extra time. Are they going to put more emphasis into Test cricket and try and put more money? Because if they are, then that's great. Or they're going to... But if it's just going to be more meaningless T20s, then I feel like it's the same shit. Because it's interesting you're saying about club cricket. We could go down a rabbit hole there, but I've sort of been on the notion that I do feel like one day cricket is slowly disappearing from the club game. Like it feels like T20s is more appropriate for people that have a life, if you know what I mean. Like they don't have to give up all day or multiple days. It's just like an afternoon or a morning.
Because they have that up here, but they just jam two. They just give you 2 T20s, morning and afternoon.
Far worse, because you can't get an early finish.
Nah, so your day's actually exactly the same, if not longer.
Yeah, we we dabbled in some Friday night T20 stuff.
Yeah, we did
which
Thursday
I kind of
nights
rated.
Yeah,
yeah,
we run a Thursday night.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I couldn't be more against it, to be fair, but that's chat for another day.
I feel like Friday, like Thursday's rough because you've got to go back to work the next day. Whereas Friday, it's like the end of the week.
And you win the toss
and
you win the toss and bat, and you basically win up here because you can't see over 17 to 20 in the run chase. So tough to hit a ball you can't see, but that's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Right, should we move on to some Major League Cricket and then we'll do some picks on the back end of that? Major League Cricket has started on Thursday, the first edition. We've got the 6 teams involved. The Texas Super Kings, the New York Mumbai Indians, the LA Knight Riders, the San Francisco Unicorns, the Washington Freedom, and the Seattle Orcas. It's a 2-week competition and it's got some big names: Quinton de Cox, Faf du Plessis, your Naughty Nokia, Harris Ralph, Shadab Khan, Adam Zampa, and much, much more. This competition allows 6 international players, so the quality is right up there. The New Zealand players involved, we've got Devon Conway, Mitch Santner, and obviously Stephen Fleming is the coach of the Texas Super Kings. They're obviously affiliated to the Chennai Super Kings. We've got Lockie Ferguson and Martin Guptill turning out for the LA Knight Riders, affiliated with the Calcutta Knight Riders. Trent Bolt's playing for the New York Mumbai Indians, obviously with the Mumbai Indians. Adam Milne and Glenn Phillips playing for Washington. They've actually got an association with New South Wales Cricket, which is interesting revelation.
Interesting.
We've got Ross Taylor as the batting coach for the Seattle Orcas. Finn Allen is with the San Francisco Unicorns, as well as former Black Cap, now USA player Corey Anderson, who wound back the clock in the first game with 91 not out of 50 rocks. They are affiliated with Victoria. Jacko, before we talk about MLC, just how good was it seeing a big, stocky Corey Anderson whilst in the middle, moosing the ball over to cow corner like it's 2015 all over again?
Yeah, I mean, just an absolute throwback. Take me back to Queenstown. Take me back to Fastest 100 stuff. Just, sweet on one hand, like sour on the other, because, wow, what a product, but like also shit, what could have been if his back had sort of held out as an all-rounder. But yeah, I mean, phenomenal performance, and I think sort of put up in the socials, like he was the guy coming out as a kid. So, good to see him have some success. Ballsy move to sort of head over to the USA early and see it through. But I think in general, this is, if you're gonna make a league work, sort of outside of in a country where it's not a established sport, I think they're doing it in a very good way. Pack it with internationals, give it the backing of some massive franchises, and go from there. So yeah, great to see wee stocky Corey have a real crack again and back on the sort of the main stage of cricket.
100%. I've enjoyed the competition so far. The quality's up there. The ground's been pretty good. The scores have been relatively high, except for the LA Knight Riders, who got rolled 50 today, so that was poor. But that's more because they're not that great. So the standings after your round 2, the only unbeaten team is Seattle with 2 that are 2 for 2. Every other side has 1 win, 1 loss, and obviously LA Knight Riders are a pretty poor side. They are 0 for 2, and they've had 2 big hidings. So, we're going to do some picks, but I can't find any TAB odds or anything for games, which is interesting. It's a bit annoying. So maybe we'll do some top 4. So have you had a look at the squads, Jacko? What do you? Because there's 6 teams and they've got a top 4, so it's pretty hard to miss it.
Yeah,
who do you like for that top 4?
I mean, sounds like we're ruling out the Knight Riders. And I'll go out on a limb and say we'll do better with this rule out than we did the last one.
I mean, this game, I've jumped on the Super Kings first game. I'm like, this team's the best. And then I've lost the next game, so I can't pick it with the Super Kings.
No, Super Kings just you're sort of your bogey team, aren't they, for picking? So, I think it feels like the Knight Riders aren't going to get there, but an LA fairy tale, you never know. But yeah, we'll go in the Knight Riders missing
big
out,
market.
and then big market. Staples Center, pick that out for the final sort of thing. Don't know how you do that, but get them in there. And then it's probably feels like a toss up for the last. So I don't know. I'll go all the teams with Kiwis to be in the top four. So is that your unicorns, your orcas with Roscoe, Chennai, and then
Pretty
who
sure
does
every
Corey
team
Anderson
has
play for?
Kiwis in it, to be fair.
Yeah, that's English.
He's
Who does
the
Corey Anderson
unicorns,
play for?
yes.
Yeah, so he'll
He's in the
stay, and
unicorns with
then
Finn.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know who misses out, but there's my top three.
Okay. Okay, so I'll go to limb, my top four. So, um, yeah, I'll stick with the unicorns and the Super Kings. I still think they are they have the best squads.
Yeah,
The unicorns have they've got two USA internationals that are actual genuine. They used to be genuine internationals. They've got Liam Plunkett, World Cup winner, Corey Anderson. Like, one of they were really good players in
they've
their
got eight.
time. And
They've
then
got eight
you add on, they've
overseas
got,
essentially.
yeah, basically 8 overseas, and then they got good overseas. And then the Super Kings, like, that's a good franchise. You got Conway, you got Faf, you got David Miller.
Pedigree stuff.
Santner's taken a more, so pedigree stuff, like still the Fleming. So I'll take them. I like them. I like the New York's bowling attack. When you got a bowling attack of Bolt and Rabada opening up, like that's some genuine. That'll knock a lot of top orders over.
Yeah.
Exhibit A today, knocking a team over for 50. Yeah. And then you got your middle order. They got a middle order of like your Pollards, your Tim Davids. Who else they've got? They got someone else. Oh, they got Nicholas Pooran as well. So that's destruction. That's genuine destruction right there. And then I'll go the fourth side. I'll go the Orcas. I'm a little bit lukewarm on them, even though they've won two out of 2. I think their bowling attack might be very good. They've only conceded around like 140, 150 2 games in a row on pretty high scoring wickets. So I like them in the mix, but their squad doesn't jump out at me. But, I've been proven wrong a lot.
Sometimes that's you need
so
a ragtag bunch
four.
of sort of written off blokes to really come together and win this MCL, Major Career League. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Righto, Ashes stuff, Jacko.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a lot of news because obviously we've had a week off. The only sort of news for the Ashes, the fourth Test starts. Fuck, I actually don't know. It's sometime. It's a couple of days or something like that. The only news is Ollie Robinson still has an article. Yeah, it's a big break. Big break. Ollie Robinson has an article, and he basically said that everyone's scared of Mark Wood, which is it's always. I've never liked when someone that's not quick talks up someone out that is quick. Like if it's Mark Wood talking the talk, like these guys can't see me. I rate it. That's you can do what you like if you bowl that quick. But if you're I've never liked someone talking for someone. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it in the NBA with guys having pods as players, and these columns. You can have them maybe, but sort of mid-series, I think you can't have it. Like if you're going to be calling blokes out in your column, like why aren't you doing that to their face? And I mean, as you said, Robinson he's getting himself caught up again for all the wrong reasons. Like saying Aussie have 3 number 11s and then, Bolland, Lyon and Cummins win them a test match with the bat. And, now they're all scared of this other guy. Like, yeah, just shush. Like, save it for the field. I think there's just a little bit too much of a license, especially for a guy that's, bowling 120 and gets knocked over quite a bit.
Could be dropped actually if Anderson's going to play. So, I think it's a good point around players having podcasts and columns while they're playing. Like I find it like the Draymond Green podcast for instance.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I like it when he's already been knocked out and he's providing insight, and I like that. I like that when players are providing insight into series that they aren't playing because they have knowledge that you don't know. But when they're involved, I just find there's a real lack of impartialness that you
and
actually
I think as
want.
well, like
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think as well, like you're never coming off in a good light if you do something mid-series, like before the outcome's decided. Like I think if you are like if the series, like if Wood goes wicketless in the next game, or like Aussie just nullify him and win because the wicket's not suited to it, it's just like, well, okay, like you might have said that, and then Aussie won 4-1. Like I think you've just got to, if you're in these, if you're in the battle and you're in the fight, like in the tournament or in the in a series, you've sort of got to wait for the result and let the dust sort of settle before you want to really sort of have things out because yeah, I think you just want to avoid having egg on your face and especially with this Aussie side, like I wouldn't be want to giving them any fuel to their fire. Like this is a very 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 good Australia side, and I mean the Aussie batters genuinely probably have the toughest task in world cricket, I reckon. Like they've got a net against Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood, Bolland, Lance Morris, Jai Richardson. The list, like Billy Stanlake in the Big Bash, like the list is genuinely endless of big frames bowling 145 minimum that Aussie can produce, and you've got to face all the time. So, yeah, I mean, these guys grow up facing rapid bowling and they train against it all the time. Like, I don't think they're scared. Like, it's quick, yes, but yeah, to come out and call out a whole test side, which is maybe the best in the world, feels precarious.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say that Mark would change the game, change the series, like that's fine. Like that's true for sure. But anytime you say that someone's like some of the best batters in the world are actually scared, is just not. It's just I just don't buy it. Like I'm immediately ruling out everything else you say.
Like if you say, look, the tail's worried, and we probably like get 7, get 10, like. Probably tailenders hate facing quick bowling. Like that's maybe fair, but yeah, to say the whole team's scared, yeah, I just don't think so. Especially when guys face fling all the time at probably 150. Like there is some serious flingers going around in the world, like, and you can't pick those, and there's no cues. So yeah, I don't know. Feels outlandish. Probably didn't need to be said.
Okay. Righto, let's put a bow on our Ashes stuff. Have you got a pick for the 4th test, Jacko? Or do you want me to go first?
You go.
Okay, so again, I'm going on someone that's due.
Yeah.
And I think at some point we've got to see a Marnus innings.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Like he's got like there's a lot of chat now about his form and his form away from home, like the 100, and guys are calling him out for being scared, and I think that potentially he's got too caught up in the hype, and I think maybe after a week's break, just to debrief, just to decompress, just to get his head sort of out of the series for a wee bit, I think he's too good of a player to not at some point stand up. Like I think almost everyone else in that batting lineup has done so. Even Warner, he made like 60 odd in the last test, the second test, sorry, has sort of stood up. So I think it's Marnus's time.
Yeah.
So give me Marnus top run scorer at $4.50.
Yeah, don't hate it. Don't hate it. Right, I am going to. This is a tough one. I'm going to go. We were playing. Supposed to spin according to Man on the Ground Luke Skade. So do I go? That's rogue. Actually. I was thinking a wee Moeen Ali top wicket taker, England second in it.
So rogue.
But I'm not going to go there. I think I'm going to stay with the due route. And who is overly due? And this is a guy that hasn't played since the first test, but is a serious player. I'm going to go Josh Hazelwood, top wicket taker.
I don't hate that.
Yeah,
I
reckon he's back in the side. He's new ball stuff. Yeah, and he is. I think he's 3 or 4. He's itching to go. The big man's rearing. I can see Hazelwood sort of ripping through England.
Yeah. They haven't named the teams, but I think at this point we can assume that Hazelwood's coming in for Boland. I've seen all sorts of like get Nisa in there, play Mitch Marsh as another bowler. Like just ridiculous. Like Hazelwood is fucking good. Like he is so underrated at this point.
Yeah, which is wild because 18 months ago it was like, is this the next great trio of fast bowlers for Aussie? But yeah, we can get down that rabbit hole another day when he comes in next week.
100%. 100%. Anything else? Any other picks you want to throw at us? Anything from around the grounds and other sports or anything like that? Or do you want to move on?
Nah, I don't have anything on hand yet.
Okay, well I'll throw at that because we've got the Open, the Golf Open at Royal Liverpool next weekend. I'm going Cam Smith, the defending champion. Give me a top 10 finish. He's just won the last Live event. I think he likes those sorts of links golf courses. So big fan of Cammy Smith from out of Australia. So I'm going Cam Smith, nice wee top 10 finish. Don't know what it's paying, but I just feel it. I feel it in my veins.
Rate it.
Okay.
Give me Brooks Koepka top 10. Revitalised man. Heaps of cash.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll get on
I
it
like
too.
that, eh? I like that. Bit of Brooksy, bit of live stuff there, bit of live stuff. So,
if they want to get behind the pod, we'll, maybe yes.
We'll be a live affiliated. We'll be live affiliated. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. Can't wait for live cricket. Righto. That's us for another week. If you enjoyed the show and want more content, check out patreon.com/maximumcricket to support us for one coffee a month, almost less than a coffee a month nowadays. To
be fair, coffee for $4.
You don't see many coffees for $4 anymore. Like you just don't.
Maybe a Keep Cup Americano you might get for $4.
Yeah, you're not getting milk for $4 at this point. You're just not getting milk. You're going to go long blacks and that sort of stuff, if you're lucky. You will get for a long black a month. You will get the exclusive audio for one extra podcast that is out Fridays. We're going to record that very shortly. You get early access to the main pod. You get special access to TMC's Discord channel, which I still need to set up. And yeah, it's there, but it just needs jazzing. It's more harder than I thought. I'll get someone on it. Don't worry. And you will get first priority
for him.
Yeah,
midweek.
He's useless. Worst producer around.
Keep that in, Gav. Don't clip that.
Yeah, and we are hoping to do a live Q&A at the end of the Ashes series, so you will get first priority with your questions. If you can't join that and you still want to support, please leave a like, give us a rating, subscribe on YouTube, leave a review on Apple. This all helps the pod grow and get discovered. Thank you all for listening. Thanks to Jack, of course, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yes.